cries for police reform are getting louder after a number of videos show officers using excessive force on protesters at the same time those protesters are protesting police brutality.
Well, joining us now is the Executive Director of Advancement at Project National Office, Judith Browne Dianis. Judith, thank you for being here. What's your reaction to these images that we've seen, like the one out of Atlanta that shows a police officer allegedly forcing a woman to the ground there?
America is seeing what the Black community has known for a very long time, that police are aggressors, that their culture, their policies, and their practices lead to the harm of American citizens, and that it is now time for us to do something drastically different.
And a lot of protesters are calling for that difference to be defunding the police. Can you explain what that would mean, how it would work, and whether you agree with that?
Sure. So Advancement Project National Office has signed on to a platform to defund the police. And the reason that we're calling for that is it's not just the killings. It is the killings of people like George Floyd, but it's also the policies like no-knock warrants, which led to the death of Breonna Taylor in Louisville. It is the forced confessions that we saw that led to the conviction of five teenagers in New York City for a rape that they did not commit. It is the stop and frisk policies. And so what we're saying is that we have to do something different. We have to reimagine safety in our communities. In Chicago, we shouldn't be spending $30 million on police in schools. Young people and teachers unions there are saying, let's get police out of schools. Instead, what we would like to see is investments in the Black community.
Is defunding the police the same thing as abolishing the police?
Well, it is a trajectory towards abolishing the police, because the idea is that if we were to invest in our communities in a real way, if we were able to get job programs and housing and health care, that our communities would be able to thrive. That right now what we're saying is we're in an austerity period because of our economy. And what we should be doing is when we make those budget cuts, let's first turn towards the police, because we have to shift our priorities. We have to invest in people right now.
But yes, I understand there's a little bit of there's some problems with law and order, but this whole concept of defunding the police, you saw the mayor of Minneapolis there get booed because he wouldn't support it. It is obviously gaining traction, but there are laws that are being broken. So if you defund the police, who polices the communities?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, first of all, if you look at a place like Los Angeles, they just cut $100 million from their police budget. So what we're saying is take that money, reinvest it in prevention programs, reinvest it in all kinds of interventions for young people, for our communities, restorative justice practices. And that's not to say that we're not going to need some kind of body that actually enforces the law, but we sure don't need it to be as big as it is right now. In Oakland, they spend over 40% of their city budget on the police. Meanwhile, people are suffering. We are in pain. And why should we keep investing in a system that is not only killing us, but is the same system that has led to the mass incarceration of Black people? And so we're saying, again, let's reimagine safety. Let's think about what our communities need. What we're seeing right now is an overly aggressive policing that is happening in this country. And it's not, again, just the killings, but it is the use of force that protesters are experiencing right now. So, you know, they're exposing themselves right now. And what we're saying is it's time for us to think about something different that invests in communities that are in pain and suffering so that we can thrive.
Where in the world has this concept worked?
Well, I mean, first of all,
is there an example?
We often look to white communities, first of all. White communities are not policed like Black communities are. Black communities have to go through stop and frisk. There are jump outs where police literally jump out of their cars and attack people and throw them to the ground. There are no-knock warrants. I mean, this is not something that the white community is not, in America, is not familiar with. The fact that they're not over-policed, they're not over-criminalized. And so what we're saying is, look, we can do better than this. Black Americans deserve better than this. And I think this is what America's calling for. It's really exciting that we are having this moment to think differently about how we police ourselves and how we get to safety.
You participated in a talk in the past week. I believe one of them was with Killer Mike, rapper and activist. And you said, quote, all of these, before the quote, you said a lot of people are getting arrested in all of these incidents. And then you said that it's still not going to bring justice to Black people. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, because we know that we can get the arrests of the officers. But if we still maintain the policies, practices, and cultures of police departments, Black people are still going to be stop and frisk. They're still going to be thrown to the ground. They're still going to be terrorized by the police every day. We're still going to have wrongful convictions. So there is more to just ending the chokeholds. We want to do that, but we need to have other policies and changes in place. Police officers get off too easily under the law because there's qualified immunity. We're saying get rid of that. Let them be open to liability so that maybe they will think through their practices and they will change their culture.
A lot of people hoping this is much more than a moment and is, in fact, a movement. Judith Browne Dianis, thank you. The escalating feud between the most powerful Black woman in Washington, D.C. and the president. And
the D.C. mayor's not backing down. Instead, she's taking to the streets to defy the president.
With my hepatitis C, I felt I couldn't be at my best for my family. In only 8 weeks with Maverit, I was cured.
I faced reminders of my hep C every day.
I worried about my hep C.
But in only 8 weeks with Maverit, I was cured.
Maverit is the only 8-week cure for all types of hep C. Before starting Maverit, your doctor will test if you've had hepatitis B, which may flare up and cause serious liver problems during and after treatment. Tell your doctor if you've had hepatitis B, a liver or kidney transplant, other liver problems, HIV-1, or other medical conditions, and all medicines you take. Don't take Maverit with anazanavir or rifampin, or if you've had certain liver problems. If you've had